Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event. I'm your host, AJ Ayers.
And I am Shane Mason.
And this is episode 178, being recorded on February 25th, airing on February 26th. That's tomorrow. Email us your finance questions at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com, and we will answer them live on the air. I have been absent, but I have returned. How have you been doing in my absence? Did you miss me?
The return of the Queen. Welcome back, sister.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's really great to be here.
La Reina del Norte. She's back.
Yes, I was just doing some extradition efforts down in Mexico, but I'm back. Today
Thank
on the
you
show,
for your work handling El Menche.
Today on the show, we have got lots of chats about AI and how it is interacting with the Pentagon. That should be fun. If you're over 60, congratulations, you own the economy. And we will end the episode up with a discussion of the AI boom versus how everyone's feeling about it versus how they felt about the tech boom in the early 2000s. How are you doing today, Shane? I've missed you. It's very good to be back.
Missed you too. We've been doing a lot of meetings off pod, a lot of BKFI and Gemify related things, a lot of planning, but we haven't done a PCast together in quite some time. So glad to have you back on the Liquidity Event. Ethan did a good job. Great job.
Yeah.
Who else did we have? We have Johnny Boy on, I'm sure.
We had Johnny. We
I
had.
think it's been like 3 weeks.
It's
Caitlin?
been 3 weeks. We had Caitlin. I was with Caitlin. Yeah.
Every
I've
week
been
in
bouncing.
2026 is a year in before COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the, and Cody, of course. And don't forget Cody.
Right.
We also
yes.
had Cody on
Cody
the
and I
pod.
had a great time. We talked sports just a tad.
Okay. I confess, I usually do try to listen to the podcast when I am absent, but I confess I have not these episodes. So I have those on my queue. Where in the world are you today?
That I have never listened to
Never
a podcast.
listened to a podcast. Yes, we know. That's not a confession, Shane. We know. We know. Where are you in the world today?
I'm in Mexico City. I'm in the midst. I'm 10 months into my 5-month renovation, so hoping I forgive for the background that I have here. Although this is we busted out the projector finally. We said we're making our own homemade projector sheet.
Great.
And for those of you that are just listening to the podcast, you're missing out on a lovely sheet hanging from a wall.
Fantastic background. There is a non-zero chance that my front tooth falls out during this podcast. I have had a dental saga, a tale as old as time, missing a tooth genetically, and my tooth basically just falls out every 6 months, and we are in the midst of that. So we will have to wrap it up right at the 30-minute mark, folks, because I've got to go to an oral surgeon in Midtown Manhattan to do a consultation to see if I can have a bone graft, which sounds like a ton of fun. So that's what's going on in my personal life. So with that said, let's dive into the Defense Department and Anthropic squaring off in a dispute over AI safety. Before we get into the article, though, I do want to give a shout out to Anthropic employees who are in the midst of a tender offer right now. Meaning that if you work at Anthropic or own shares because you previously worked at Anthropic, you potentially have the opportunity to sell your shares to new investors in Anthropic for a, what do we call it? A liquidity event. That's why the show is called the freaking Liquidity Event, because we used to have these all the time. We used to have IPOs every week. But now we just got these measly old things called tender offers. But yes, if you are an Anthropic employee, please reach out to your friendly neighborhood fee-only financial planner and get some help modeling out scenarios, because you have just a few weeks to participate in this. And we don't know when the next opportunity will be for you to get some liquidity, meaning some cash off the table. We here at Brooklyn FI handle this all day, every day. We've been getting a ton of inflows from Anthropic employees. So shout out to our Anthropic clients who have been singing our praises in the Slack channels. That's been really fun to just watch, plans that we've been making for years come to life with some nice little exits in this tender. Let's see. Let's talk about this article. By the way, have you ever read Pete Hegseth's Wikipedia page, Shane?
No. Why?
I don't recommend it. It's just a litany of basically him being like a rabble
domestic
rouser
abuse?
bad dude. Yeah, just not necessarily anything directly related to him other than being accused of workplace harassment and creating a toxic environment for people when he was at the Veterans Affairs, one of those organizations. But just really not a really impressive resume as like a human. You know, he served in the military, and now he's got this big fancy job where he's basically relying on AI to tell him how to do war plans. Is really what I took away from this article. Any thoughts on the Anthropic versus Pentagon debate right now?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting that Anthropic is positioning itself is as the safety AI company as opposed to OpenAI, which I feel is going to come from the Zuckerberg school of venture capital company growth mode, where anything and everything is on the table. I believe that they're
You mean
probably
OpenAI is doing the Zuck playbook,
yeah,
and Anthropic is the opposition? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's my reading between the lines on what is going on here. Anyone that all the podcasts I've listened to with Anthropic employees, they talk about how they try to turn down um, as many of these roles as possible. Apparently, they have not turned down. They're already deep inside the Pentagon, and they
Oh
have
yeah,
been.
they're
They're the
the
only
AI of
system.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the only system on the classified systems right now, but it looks like they'll be shaking that up. They're getting pushback from Mr. Hegseth, who wants them to open the gates and work on anything and everything within the Department of Defense. They do have one of the few integrations with Palantir, which apparently has less issues with working with the Department of Defense. I don't know how to feel about that. I try to be optimistic about what our Defense Department is up to. It's
Really?
certain,
Do you?
yeah, freedom ain't free. It never has been. So yeah, I try to be optimistic about it. So I'm curious about what redlining the issue. Like I actually trust I trust Dario a lot more than I trust Mr. Hegseth in terms of what they're trying to implement at these companies. Obviously, a lot of these things are going to be super classified, but what is Anthropic capable of that we are not seeing?
Aware of? Yeah.
Yeah, that we're not aware of. I mean, like from my experience, it's capable of coding, it's capable of moving files around, it's capable of organization, it's capable of research and chatting. But like, what is it capable? What is it doing for Palantir? Is it helping the Department of Defense teams integrate with their system and get reports out of their systems that Palantir hasn't already built? I guess that's probably what they're up to. I'm trying to speculate just based on my retail or business B2B experience with the platform, like what it is that they're asking it to do, and I don't know what that is. Like, is it analyzing images of
Yeah.
the field in overseas? I don't know. I'm not
There
sure,
was there were a few
but
mentions. Yeah, I hope the Pentagon has the enterprise version of Anthropic, not
well,
just the out of the box one.
well, according to this
But you
article,
never know.
taxpayers have spent $200 million on the project
On
already.
Claude.
So
Yeah,
yes,
I think
I hope they have a nicer version than I do.
yeah, I mean, the article mentions that they're using it to, analyze images at a much faster rate. There was some mention of Anthropic kind of drawing the line at not wanting their technology to be used to pilot autonomous weapons without a human in the loop. So that's pretty concerning, right? If you're using code to actually use weapons that could, damage people or actually carry out acts of war. So that was pretty concerning. But I'm with you. Dario does seem to have a little bit more of a pause when saying that AI is the future. Let's push it to the unknown, right? He's saying let's think about this. He wrote a piece on his own personal website about it earlier, was it late last year, basically questioning like, should we slow down? Should we put some more restraints? We're moving really fast as the company Anthropic, but should we take a breath and just think about what the implications of moving this fast are? But this is like a pretty serious threat by a government agency to a private company, a private U.S. company. They've threatened to put them on the supply chain watch list, which is basically usually reserved for, this, I think TikTok was on this. It's basically companies that are like a national security threat. So this is a pretty dramatic threat and stick waving that the Pentagon is doing to a San Francisco-based tech company. So that gave me a lot of pause. And in fact,
Yeah.
I think there was a breaking news article last night that they basically gave them till Friday to basically give up abandon their ethics rules for AI or else. So we'll see how that
Yeah.
plays out. That's fun.
Yeah.
Love an
Companies
ultimatum.
are traditionally allowed to work with whoever they want to. So
Yeah.
it seems like an infraction of their civil rights to be blacklisted by the government and to face consequences for not working with them.
Yeah, I mean it's so interesting that this is like the way this is playing out because yeah, you and I as owners of companies like are thinking about how to roll out, AI at scale in our organizations. And this is literally the same problem that the Pentagon is facing. It's like they don't like their supplier. And so they might have to completely rewire their entire system if Anthropic doesn't change their tune and remove restrictions. Like that would be very painful for us to retool all the systems we've built because we don't like the supplier. So it's just funny to me that the government is facing similar business decisions that we do as small business owners.
Yeah, I mean, he did mention that, Dario mentions that there's a 25% chance that AI takes over the world. And so we're
World,
going to
yeah.
talk about, or like, gets rid of humanity or deletes humanity. And we have an article coming up later about why, as you mentioned, consumers aren't excited about it. So it is nice to see there is a doomer narrative that exists in the AI space. It's kind of strange that it comes from inside the house, as Jensen Wang said about people leaving the AI space to go write poems, and like the calls are coming from inside the house. And he's also saying, I don't want to work with the military because if we give AI military capabilities, there's probably a higher likelihood that it deletes humanity. So
Right.
yeah, I hear it's a very strange time to be alive.
It really is. Speaking of being alive, we've got a Wall Street Journal article.
Nice segue. Hey, she's
The
back.
title of which is Over 65, Congratulations, You Owned the Economy. As of the third quarter of
Segue of
last
the
year,
year. Segue of the
people
year. I dare say.
people 70 and over control roughly 39% of all equities and mutual funds owned by households, compared with 22% in 2007. So in 20 years, we have basically doubled the ownership of the equity ownership of companies, aka people holding stocks, aka wealthy people, to the old folks, the folks over 70, which notably is not the retirement age. The retirement age is 65, according to Federal Reserve data. And another interesting thing from this article is that healthcare accounted for all 100% of the net job growth in the last 12 months, which reflects the needs of a rapidly aging society. These wealthy old folks need care. They're living longer. And a lot of the jobs that used to be white collar or even blue collar jobs are actually healthcare jobs, which is like, wiping people's butts for lack of a better term. What was your take on this Fuck the Boomers article?
Well, the article, it is very easy to go down that path. That is the path of least resistance for me, and I have gone down that path many times on this podcast. It is a First of all, you put this article into the channel to talk about, and you said the comments were actually your favorite
The
thing
comments
about.
are incredible. Yeah.
So I usually read these on mobile, and you can't get to the comments. I now
Oh
see
no.
that there's
Okay.
2,000 comments
Yes.
in on this Wall Street Journal article, and I have not cracked the comments. I would love to live on this podcast.
Okay.
Um,
Let's go.
well, you crack the comments. I will note
Please.
some some facts about that are skimming the surface. The percentage of, the elderly costs more. There's a chart in here that in 1990, 6% of our GDP went to the elderly. It is now close to 10% and is projected by 2035 to be 11%. So this is not an issue wherein the boomers, 5 years from now, they're all going to be dead and gone. Like they are, the youngest boomers just entered retirement and they're going to be around, their life expectancy is 20 years. So we'll be dealing, so to speak, with this type of voting in your own interest because we have the highest percentage of votes and we do vote because we're elderly, whereas the young don't vote in the United States until the year 2045, it appears. I don't know when their grip on politicians is going to slip. maybe in the year 2035, but we got at least 10 more years of quote unquote dealing with this generation that tends to vote towards its own interests, as evidenced in this article where we have less of them working, the more percentage of our expenses are going towards them. In terms of federal GDP, their incomes and their net worth as compared to those in the 1980s, 90s, and 2000s are higher as indexed for inflation than they've ever been. They control more net assets and have lower debts. Over 80%, this is a key takeaway for me, over 80% of boomers own their own homes.
Yep.
That is nuts.
That's
80%.
Nuts.
So only 20, and anecdotally, they'll always come back.
And they're not leaving their homes unless they die.
I'm sure a lot of them own multiple homes. Yeah. So like the amount of construction is way down in terms of home building. The NIMBYism is way up. So it's a lot of, we've talked about a lot on the podcast. I've got mine. You figure it out. It was very hard for me. My mom always says
I contributed to Medicare. I want my money back.
Yeah. Yeah, so Social Security and Medicare. So a lot of people will say, well, we don't have any assets. And in this article, it net present values the value of Social Security. And for a lot of people in their 70s and their 60s, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds, yes. And most people live off of that. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
most people live off of that.
Right.
And they do point out that like, we're talking about averages, and obviously there are boomer billionaires like Warren Buffett that skew it, but they were also saying the median is pretty high also. I do want to point out that, there's been all this investment is being made in older people. In fact, in 2019, the federal government spent more than $29,000 on everyone 65 and over through Social Security, Medicare, civil service, blah, 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 retirement benefits, which is 5 times what it spent on every child under 18. So if you're under 18, you got to go to college, right? So there's very limited government support for that. In fact, you can get some loans at 8.5% right now to go to college, which will cost you about what it cost your parents to buy a house when they were your age. So just the scales have tipped so much. And, we have this new Trump account kerfuffle, which I actually think is great, but that's $1,000 per child. So they're spending $29,000 on people over 65, and they're only spending $1,000 on newborns who are the future. So we need to kind of balance that budget a little bit and spend a little bit more on the people who are going to be the wealth generators and creators of the next generation. I do want to read some comments here because they're very funny.
Yeah. All right.
Here's one.
Lighten the mood a bit. Bring some levity to them.
Maybe Gen X, Y, and Z should have saved more and had more kids instead of splurging on expensive college degrees, tattoos, piercings, $80,000 weddings, Vegas trips, foreign travel, frothy lattes, luxury clothing, and cosmetic purchases, said R. Chase. But don't worry,
yeah,
Marianne B came in and said, oh my God, my tooth just fell out.
Yes!
Hello.
Oh no.
It is I.
Incredible.
Veronica. AJ's
Yes.
evil hag twin.
The real AJ's finally joined the pod.
I'm about to have a nervous breakdown, y'all. Anyway. I can't even look at myself, so I'm not looking at the recording anymore. So, anyway.
Don't worry, we can roll the clips from, I guess, the one article we got through before.
No, it's fine. Who cares? I'm over it. I have enough self-esteem built up
Nice.
past 10 years. So Marianne B said all of those things are still cheaper than having kids, which, sorry for the interlude, folks, but the punchline was that they should have had more kids, and then they listed a bunch of things that cost a couple $100.
What the fuck are you
sense.
talking about? How does that?
Yeah.
We would have more net worth if we had more kids, and we would spend more.
Yeah, Shane, you buy a farm, and if you have more kids, you get more free labor, so you're able to have more yield per square acre of corn when you have more children. So it's just a better ROI. So clearly you don't understand that, which is sad for you.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that. I love when boomers try to tell me how like the economy works and how like because I got one of the expensive degrees in finance and accounting, I don't understand.
I mean, I have an English degree. How do you think?
Ask a boomer how inflation works, and like how what the minimum wage would be if it was indexed for inflation now is a very fun conversation to have. Or what the median home cost would be now versus back then, or how many minimum age hours you would have to work to get a bachelor's degree now versus back then. et cetera, et cetera. So there's like 15. Not to go down this road, but I'm sure it's evident in the comment. Read us one more comment because they're fun.
Let me get it. Let me get a good
another
comment.
one.
All right, let me find a good one. Okay, these are all too intelligent. I need a good. Oh, here we go. No mention of boomers who are subsidizing unemployment adult children / grandchildren who have esoteric college degrees like LGBTQ studies until they find the perfect job.
Yes, which is assuredly not an edge case, and it makes up a large percentage of millennials and Gen X. And
yeah, honestly, I think boomers resent the fact that their grandkids don't care about them. I think that's what a lot of this is. And it's like, oh, you went off and got this like silly degree in economic policy, and you're not coming to visit grandma. Like, you're a loser. I'm not giving you $1. I think that is like our children moved away. Like, they didn't want to live in the small town, and they thought, I want a life bigger than this. I want to move to a big city. And they come home maybe once or twice a year. So I think a lot of this is resentment and feeling left behind, frankly.
I also think a lot of boomers feel like if you got a college degree, that was a golden ticket, without realizing that the college degree was labeled with student loans, was attached to there was an attachment to student loans. But if you chose a college degree that at age 18 it seemed like your life might be fun, like an English degree, then you deserve to be in debt for it. It's just a whole it's tough.
Yeah, but this idea that this came up in my own family very recently. This idea that you are wrong for choosing an education path that costs more money than what we paid. And it's like, yeah, you got a college degree 30 years ago. That was a long time ago. Things have changed a lot, and they cost a lot more now. So this idea that like you should be shamed or we're not helping you because you made the wrong choice and you should get a sensible degree. Like, I'm really sick of real sick of hearing that in my own family. And look, here I am working in fucking finance after all that shit. Anyway. Okay, I have a fun... I love death. Let's talk about death. So I would call this a fun article, a Business Insider article. Death isn't the end. Meta patented an AI that lets you keep posting from beyond the grave. Shane, would you like to continue to post on Instagram after you have left this earth?
No, I'm sorry. The grip on our lives that this unregulated live experiment that social media has been deployed because our legislators are over 70 on average and have no idea what they've unleashed upon us, and they think it's shareholder value, and the S&P is up, and the Dow's over 5,000, thank God. Thank you, Pam Bondi. That's all that they care about. They don't care about our actual lives. And no, I'm good. I'm all set on the Zuck. Who, if I had to deploy one person from this earth early, I think it might be him. I think it would be him.
Speaking of which,
there's one person that is going to go pretty soon that I would probably pass over. And go with the Zuck, just so that's
for years of potential future damage.
He's got a lot of damage. A lot of Class F shares that he can never be removed from the board of one of the most diabolical companies.
Diabolically evil companies. By the way, did you ever read that book, Careless People, about the Facebook?
I keep cracking it.
Oh, you got
the
read
hardback. Moving back and forth between. Yeah, I'm ready. No, I opened it to like a random chapter, and it was him talking about how much he loves sushi in Japan. And he previously had told this interviewer, this girl that works with him, I think it was the writer, that all he eats is chicken fingers. But they're in Tokyo, and he's just like eating the most expensive tuna of all time. And she's like, "You don't even like this?" And he's like, "It's like a rare endangered species." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's the best." And everyone's like, "God fucking damn it!" Like,
I hate this. Like, why am I
here?
Can
you just think about, like, you went to Harvard? Can you think about other people for one
moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am, as we all know, obsessed with death. Greenwood Cemetery, my favorite cemetery in Brooklyn, announced that they will soon offer corpse composting as a burial option because they've run out of space. If you've ever been to Greenwood, it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous rolling hill cemetery in the middle of Brooklyn. And they are going to now offer what's called terramation as opposed to cremation, which is a process where you basically like decompose your body and you become food for the plants in the cemetery. So I'm going to update my will so that I will be terramated instead of cremated because I would like to be return to the earth in Brooklyn, a place that I've called my home for almost 2 decades.
Okay. They're gonna use your corpus for like trees and plants, and yeah, that's great.
Yeah, basically, instead of like getting a burial plot and like taking up like a space in the cemetery, you just say like, put me back into the earth in this random place in the cemetery. And I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoot me out of a cannon into the East River, and I'm good to go. Do we have
Is that
a cannon?
in your estate plan?
That's not in my estate plan.
Okay, well, we need
Mine's
to
just
update
regular cremation, but yeah. As the
mine is
executrix of my
currently-
estate, I'm
Yes, I'm
saying
familiar.
it live. I am a sound-minded body right now.
Oh God, here we go.
So, my toothless
Oh my
executrix.
Oh wait! Oh my God! Look at my cool shirt. My shirt is themed. Look at this cool shirt I got. It says Applebee's, and then
What
it
is
has
the ghost?
it's like the Grim Reaper, and then it says
Neighborhood
Krillin. Is this a sick shirt? I saw it in Palm Springs. I was like, I must have this shirt.
That is a cool shirt.
Anyway, sorry, we have to do a side note, folks, because I have been screaming about this for years, and it has just impacted my own family. Please get your estate plan done, especially if you are not married to your current partner, or you have a situation where you don't want your assets to go very obviously to someone like your sister or your brother or your parents. We just had a death in my family, and this person was taken way too early, and it was very sad. And they had no estate plan of any kind. And they have a wonderful long-term partner who, well, obviously the family will financially take care of them, but there are no instructions whatsoever. And it's just really messy and hard. And it's going to take years to figure out who owns the accounts and how to access the accounts. And there's a home, and it's just really terrible. And it could have been a lot easier with a simple will that just said, here are my wishes. So even if it's just Shane on a podcast saying that he wants to be shot across the cannon, like, write your shit down and have someone close to you understand, where you want your shit to go. Because it is really sad when you're trying to grieve someone, but in the back of your mind, you're going, oh God, this is going to be a years long, messy entanglement. Because at the end of the day, people are going to miss you, but you leave behind a bunch of nonsense. People are going to resent you. So get your shit done. And you can do it with Trust and Will through Brooklinify or literally any online estate planning platform. That's my soapbox for the day, which no one is going to take seriously because I don't have a tooth. I look insane. I just got a glimpse. Oh no.
All right. Use that clip.
Let's wrap it up. New York Times article: people love the .com boom. The AI boom, not so much. Consumers were excited about the internet and technology. Consumers are not so super excited about AI. It seems that CEOs seem to be very... Are you just laughing at me because I'm fucking too?
Yes. All the clips from this week are going to be of me, so I'm trying to prepare myself for.
Oh, I don't care. No, we're
eloquently.
use the tooth clips. I don't care. I am way past any ego. I think it's funny.
You did post it on LinkedIn, which was very impressive.
I don't. It's honestly just, it hurts because it's like jagged, open porcelain shards in my mouth.
Yeah, it's digging
That's the
into
problem.
your gums.
Anyways, what are your thoughts on this U.gov survey from last year that more than a third of respondents said they were concerned that AI would end human life on Earth? People are not excited about AI.
There's a lot of doomer narratives that come from movies and also from, like I said earlier, inside the house, Jensen Huang. The head of AI, PhD, I think it was either OpenAI or Meta, quit after a few months to go write poetry because he's like seen into the void and he doesn't like what he saw. The abyss stared back into him and he doesn't like where things are going. There's a great article that came out from a research firm, a financial research firm. Just last night I was reading it. It's like 40 pages on a scenario in 2028.
Oh, the Citrini paper?
Yeah, the Citrini paper, which I think we should talk about next week on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to add it late last night, but I didn't want to bug you because it's really long. But that's funny. We were both reading
Well, yeah, we both read it. But yeah, we could do a whole week on that or a whole podcast episode on that, I think. So maybe we should do that. But yeah, I mean, also like we don't have an idea of what our government hasn't exactly been very good at taking care of people over the past, unless you're over 65, for the past 40, 50 years. So the idea that there's going to be a white collar wipeout of work, which we are on trend for if we continue to make developments in the ability of these large language foundational models, I think that that's a real concern. I think that's not just for coders, which is a lot of people say is a solved problem, and software indexes are down 15, 20% in January when we see where Opus 4.6 and Codus 5.3 can go and their ability to deploy and work on their own and have multiple parallel agents and all these plugins. Like, I feel coding is potentially a solved problem. And B2B SaaS, unfortunately, for someone that just spent quite a bit of money on developing a B2B SaaS platform, could be the moats around all these industries could be gone. It's a golden age of B2B SaaS, and that's the Trini article, as you said, which we'll talk about on the podcast next week. Instead of just the idea that friction is a company is going to become very apparent, where DoorDash, you just go there because it's already on your phone, and there's only 2 or 3 alternatives, and you can just spin up 30 alternatives. There is going to be a reduction in costs at first, but in the long run, as these tools can whip up financial reports, tax returns, they can do legal work, it's going to be potentially an annihilation of a lot of white-collar jobs, which has not ever been a long-term unemployment thing in the past. And a lot of the GDP comes from consumer spending from these jobs that are potentially under duress. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
No, it was a great preview of next. Yeah, let's do a deep dive on that next week. That sounds really fun.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I hate to end on such a difficult topic, but I think it is something that we need to prepare ourselves for. And I know that we should probably get you to the orthopedic.
Yes, I have to go to the oral surgeon to fix this. And
Speaking
the
of oral
bin,
surgeons,
folks. Thanks so much for listening. Please do not watch this episode, folks. You can email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. And finally, Stans can leave a review if they want to be weird about it. Please donate to the AJ Ayers
GoFundMe.
Oral surgery GoFundMe. Go fix my mouth fund.com.
Hell yeah, brother.
See you next week, guys.
Great.
Bye.
See ya.